Well, welcome back. I've been gone for a while. I had a medical meltdown where it took me about a year, and it has been about a year. Um, I ended up with COVID and the flu all in one shot at the same time. I had a complete mental wall breakdown where the illusions and voices got too powerful. Then I lost track. I lost what I thought I had control. It took me a while to get back. And this small time episode is just me after a year of dealing with rebuilding, getting my health back, with all the tubes and all the breathing issues after the COVID. And I wasn't able to actually speak for about 2 months. So I wasn't able to really do anything. And every time I did speak, I ended up coughing up a lung. But I was introduced to edibles, and they helped a little bit. But all in all, it was quite painful medically. But mentally, when the voices overwhelmed me and my visions, illusions, delusions of grandeur, everything collided in one while I was down. And I wasn't able to self medicate. And I didn't want to get back on the real deal, adding those chemicals into my brain. Yes, it was my fault for not being medicated to the pharmaceutical way. I won't do that. My mind has been introduced to enough of the chemical pharmaceutical world because of my mental illness that the zombie effect is not going to help anybody. All it does is just numb me and pass the time away. That's not what I'm about. Since I was awakened in my imprisonment almost 20 years ago, the therapy and how I learned to deal with it has its downfalls because there's no way for me to actually find the right therapist to do what I need to do or anything that I've got going on. We are all uniquely mentally ill from one or another situation that has occurred in our lifetime. And the biggest one, the COVID. Um, Even having it 5 years after it's been introduced to the world is still, um, I mean, I still have a lot of side effects from it. Breathing is still an issue. Yes, I still smoke. I'm OG smoke all the time. And now that it's become legal in most states, um, it helps out quite a bit because I'm able to go up and get what I need, specifying whether I'm in pain or whether my mind needs numbing for a little while. It's great, but the therapy I wasn't able to get during that full year of reconstruction, I had to rely on me and my family, the closest to me. Now, during this time, I also shut everybody out other than blood. The reason being is that I was at a pivotal point where I was lashing out. I was mentally down to a point where I was m- mentally abusive. I didn't want anyone around me. I was that old dying dog situation, you know. So within uh, about a month after all the COVID and breathing and flu, and I still wasn't able to talk, but I was able to figure out what was going on in my mind. I had no recollection whatsoever of what triggered the bombardment in my brain. Now, my mental health issues are, I would say, yes, they are of birth and they matured during my maturity, but in the same sense that everything I went through in life has brought me to this point. And at this point, I'm trying to use my past experiences to overcome oh, the tragic nightmare that I went through. It it totally changes your thought process for a while. You become so defensive as you're rebuilding. So when you take people out of your lives that you don't know whether are toxic or good for you, you have to surround yourself with blood. Blood, I know at times can be trying, but they're also understanding. It's that blood tie. Now there are individuals in your blood that you don't want around because they're not beneficial to you surviving. Okay, I know that sounds harsh, and I'm not shitting you people. It can be dangerous if you keep people that you care about around during a time where you don't even know who you are. There are changes that occur in the mental health mind, the issues develop, they evolve. Um, I am digressing with my schizophrenia. I'm losing time. I am seeing things that are not there. I'm hearing mother's voice with my boys Ed, and Eddie, and they are constant. Now, the only way I numb it is like self-medicating. I don't do needles. I don't do chemical drugs. I do natural. Because number one, I'm old. My digestive system couldn't take any kind of opioids. My brain could not take any kind of anything, to be honest. I'm barely getting along with just the diabetic medications. So having people, more and more people in your bubble adds more and more anxiety. You have to constantly worry about keeping in communication with people. You're constantly having to hear or being asked at all times, how are you? Do you need anything? Okay. I appreciate that. I really do. But right now, what I need to do is figure out what is up with me. Okay. And I realize that is so that selfish and self-centered. But if those people really had meaning in my life, then when the time comes for me to communicate, okay, then I will explain myself. Okay, I didn't do any of this to hurt anyone's feelings. What I did was save them from watching me go through pure hell. And that's what it is all about. I have to put myself back to the beginning. And with with my schizophrenia downgrading and decreasing, I'm able to remember in detail things that happened to me in my freshman year of high school, in my eighth grade years. I can't remember what happened last week and last month, last year. I lose years. Okay, my wife has to sit by my side to remind me of all these things. Okay, so with my rebuilding, the restructuring of my brain, I also went back to the therapeutic times of my prison stay. And what I did there gave me the foundation of furthering along my education of what I was dealing with. So I started to re educate myself, but in a different way. I didn't use the books, like I've got tons of them all through my Amazon book club thing, but the experience and the knowledge and actually talking to people or hearing people out who have mental issues and their way of dealing with them. Okay. It's not a comparison thing. It's hearing what they dealt with and figuring if I can use that to help deal with what I am dealing with. And a lot of times that's a very tricky thing because we all have our own individual illnesses. There is no one particular person that has the same exact mental issue as the person next to them. You can do all the studies in the world, but those two people were brought up separately. Those two individuals that you're trying to compare have had different lives, have different upbringings. They have been exposed to different environments, okay? So you can't, it's like the label they give normal. There is no normal. Okay, as you realize that each and every individual person on this planet, and there are billions, okay, they all have their own individual story. Okay, the more stories that you hear and learn from, the more experience and wisdom you gain. That's like with criminals who get caught with the first time go to jail. They learn from the old timers that have been caught three or four different times that have gone to jail. Learn from their experience so you don't screw up again. The same format with school. You hang around with the big, smart individuals that can help you further yourself, your education, everything about you. Further it along. Wisdom, knowledge is power, plain and simple. And that is where I had to go back to get that foundation. I relearned a lot of things, and then the things that I learned along the way all these years, I added to it. So not only did I have the old foundation that I built on, but all the wisdom and knowledge that I learned through the years to help me rebuild a better, stronger foundation, one that can withstand earthquakes, hurricanes, and typhoons that my mind creates every day. Okay. The delusions of grandeur I deal with in this form. Okay. Giving my podcast, giving my stories, acknowledging the fact that I have issues, I know or how to identify them, the triggers, and try to deal with them in a professional manner to myself. Okay? Because I'm not doing this for anyone else. If I'm going to survive with these issues that I have, then I have got to be a better me. So, knowledge is power. We all know this. Now, every day, it seems, every single day, there seems to be a new change in the mental health world. There's some new medication you can take. There's some new therapy that you can go through. I've been through quite a bit for the past 20 some odd years. Okay. Um, and whatever you feel is good for you, okay, you can find three or four different forms of therapy. And you figure it out your way. You can combine all three into one therapeutic session. Give yourself a customized therapy session so that you're comfortable. You don't deal with anxiety. You don't have to go anywhere unless your therapy to yourself is to get out of the house more often, right? So I'm rebuilding using everything that I have given myself as well as others have been giving me opinions. They're very strong from some of the people in my family. That's another reason why you take out the negative. Um, a lot of those feedback opinions can be offsetting, destructive. Uh, the setback alone can take you maybe even a month to get over just to get back to that same spot again. Mental health is not an easy thing to deal with. And when you're constantly dealing with people who just don't understand, uh, don't deal with the concept, and feel like they have that labeled normal life, even though people around them, get this, their bubble is so surrounded by negativity that they thrive on the chaos. There are a lot of people who do that. My wife is one of them. She loves chaos. That's because she grew up in it. She's got the PTSD from her early years development, uh, from the deaths that occurred in her family, the murders that occurred in her family. She deals with those things every day as well. Okay, we all have our own individual issues to deal with. So, what I basically wanted to do is try and come back with an altered form of therapy for myself. And it dealt with taking people out. Even if those people were positive, I had to, I don't know, shrink my bubble to the basic few. That way, I felt comfortable enough to start working on me again. Um, I went through a couple of therapy sessions. I did not like the way it was going. They put me through the flashing lights, I something therapy, and tried telling me that I was molested by my mother, and that's the reason why the voices and the trauma and all this are coming. But I, to me, that's bullshit. My mother never did that. My mother was brutally abusive mentally, but that's because she was dealing with her own issues but did not realize it. Most of my mental health issues come from my mother's side of the family, and they have been dealing with it uncontrolled for generations. Okay, my backstories with my family are all in my past podcasts. Um, but everything that is upside down in my world during this year of restructuring, I rebuilt. And now, at this point in my time in life and the pursuit of happiness and all that, I have come to a great foundation. I am now ready to step out and begin again. So, with this podcast, I am introducing myself back to the world and hoping that I will be accepted once more. There will be a series of other podcasts that will be coming, and I've got some different ideas. But if you can communicate with me in any way, I have a YouTube channel. I'm going to be starting to put up more YouTube videos, and we'll see what happens from there. But I just want everybody to realize that I am back. And for those who are listening, thank you. If you have any questions or comments, anything of that nature, like I said, YouTube, my wife, her Facebook kicked me off for a while, so we'll see how that goes. So this is Dewbee. I'm back. Peace out and love, all.